Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 400. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate, can you take me higher?
Let's go.
How about it? Celebrating episode 400 with a World Series finale. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers winning their first ever World Series title. Congratulations. I mean, it was basically gift wrapped, no? How do we want to go about this? Do we just want to get the negative stuff out of the way? Do we want to, because I'll be honest, even in just this last game, I feel like my emotions were kind of up and down.
The first, 4 or 5 innings, it's not great baseball, but impressive pitching. And then it got to be really good baseball. And then it got to be oh, okay, well, we're just kind of running out the clock here. So, yeah, I got a taste of all of it. I think there's a reason it was the least watched World Series.
Let's say we'll save the negative stuff. We'll say that because we don't have a choice. We have to address those elements of it. But off the top here, like I said, congrats to the Rangers. This has been a long time coming. Rangers fans, I know there's been a lot of noise talked about this World Series, and we'll certainly get into it, but we know there's Rangers fans out there, and they were fully locked into this World Series. It wouldn't have mattered who they went up against.
For sure.
And they've had to deal. We're not talking like a Red Sox curse or something. We're talking very recently they've had to endure a very immense amount of pain, coming so close. Close.
Yeah.
And just not quite getting there. But the fact that they were able to essentially steamroll their way to this title, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. They steamrolled their way to this title.
I can't say, I want to say dominant. I want to. But it's so weird because they did lose a lot of games at home. Crazy amount of wins on the road, which is more impressive. I want to say dominant. Offensively, that might have been the best offensive postseason we've seen in our lifetime. Is that crazy? That's not crazy. They went off, dude. I saw the stats they were flashing across all night. It was this postseason, they're hitting 429 with 2 outs. They have 13 innings where they scored 3 or more runs. Just insane numbers. Definitely a misquote there. I don't know if that's accurate, but you know what I'm talking about.
If they hit a home run in the game, there's 137% chance they win the game. Just crazy numbers, statistics that don't even make sense, but because it was this offense, it seemingly just made sense because it's a reminder of, oh yeah, that's what this team does. And that's how this team wins. And they did it and did it often.
Yeah.
And to me, it was fitting, and I think they even made note of it with Semion's home run to cap off the night. A fitting note that they end on a bomb.
Yeah.
Because that's what this team did all season long.
It's not a one-run kind of team, dude. It's not a squeak a run across kind of thing. This team just pummeled the baseball.
They're not a one-run team, but the second they got the first run across the board, I said it's over. I started pre-populating my notes and like my episode info, like Rangers win the title, the episode Rangers win the World Series, because I'm like, this is over. Like, if you can
only hold them down for so long,
right? Like if you're the D-backs and specifically Zach Gallen, and you go out there and hold them to 6 no-hit innings, and then the 7th rolls around, they string together a few hits, get one across the board, I said it's over. Like you got exactly what you needed from Gallen, but it wasn't enough.
That's what I was gonna say. We got to give a bravo to Zach Gallen. Super gutsy performance, dude. Super impressive.
Little.
He heard
maybe too little, too late from Zach Gallen, buddy.
Possibly.
Where were you? Yeah.
Possibly.
Now you're the one looking at spring training details, because you're going home without a ring. And look, I'm not trying to talk noise on Zach Gallen. I get it, but this is what I said. Him and Paul Sewald were 2 examples of guys where I'm like, you all need to chill with the hashtag receipt season and making comments to Phillies fans on Twitter. And it's not like I was like a pseudo Phillies fan. They hurt my feelings. I couldn't have cared less about that. I'm just saying, don't treat this like your World Series, because you haven't even started the World Series yet. And you're going on Twitter rampages talking about, we've got the receipts. Didn't really pan out for you guys.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of any social media when you're in the playoffs / postseason, no matter the sport. If you can log off of all social media, I think you should. I think it's important to do that. So, but either way, gutsy performance, super impressive. It's just like you can't leave that many runners on. You just can't, especially when your dude on the other side is just nutting up for you and doing everything you need him to do. You can't leave him out to dry. This offense definitely did that. And it's like I don't know, like, get your lead, obviously, if you can. And I think it'd be more difficult for this Rangers team to come back, but like, to get no hit through 6, and then you still have the confidence that you're going to pull this one out because Nathan Eovaldi's a freaking magician. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you can applaud the no-hit element of that from Gallen's performance all you want. And again, taking nothing away from that, but the fact that you had Nathan Eovaldi on the other side and the score was the same.
Yeah.
I don't care how many hits Nathan Eovaldi gave up. He got out of the jams, as he's done pretty much the entire postseason. And the score showing 0-0 going into the 7th. I'm like, you know, they're going to, like you said.
Yeah, they're coming.
They were coming. It was just a matter of time. And who else but to break it up but Corey Seager. And
I mean, the lineup's so good that, like, and I know Zach Gallen's dicing. And I know that this lineup, you can't give them that many looks at him. And if the Diamondbacks were able to get any kind of run support up, they would have gone to that bullpen. They would have said, job well done, Zach, we're going to move on. But when you're forcing this and you don't have a lead, you can't get any runs up, you can't, you can't play with a lead, it's so tough. It's so tough. So I'm not going to put that on Gallen. I think he would have been out of the game if the Diamondbacks could have got any sort of lead for him.
Man, I love, like I said, it was just an up and down game, and it was very symbolic of just the way I feel like the series went. And you could argue the postseason as a whole. Yeah. It was just, there was like, wow. That moment may have been a flash in the pan, but that was really cool. And then there's other elements of it where you're like, this isn't good baseball. And then then you kind of come up on the tail end of it and you're like, all right, well, we've reached the end. That was cool. And that's kind of how I felt throughout this game. It's kind of how I felt throughout the whole postseason. It was just a very strange collection of moments. And
super agree. Super agree. The
very
whole
hard to
thing.
explain.
The whole thing. Like the entire thing is just, it's odd. So I think I said it last pod, like the Diamondbacks wouldn't even have been here if the Cubs didn't collapse the last week of the season. And for this to turn into just odd matchups. I mean, like the Twins somehow like beating an anemic Blue Jays. The Orioles being a complete flop. The Marlins sneaking in to like steal our wild card opportunity and get just dominated by the Phillies. Like the Dodgers to not be themselves. It was just a super weird, outside of the Astros performing well and always being in contention. Nothing about this postseason was normal. And I'm not saying it in like a good way. I'm saying it in like a, if I was to rate this entire postseason, including the World Series, I'm giving it a C-. And it's not like, I know there's probably some people like, oh, it's because the Yankees weren't in it. No, that's not why. It was the fact that like, it's like you said, it's just this weird collection of lopsided games, interesting moments, but nothing like super like grab the public kind of thing. No one cared about this.
Yeah, it was tough. Well, like I said, I still feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll look at like the big picture here in a little bit, but specifically this series, I believe, if I do recall, I had Rangers in 5.
Sure did.
Because I just felt like an 84 win D-backs team was not going to be the team that pushed this to 6 or 7. And I'll admit, like I did pose the question, I believe maybe last episode, where I'm like, is there a scenario where this doesn't go 6 or 7 just because of the way that the first couple games it went?
Yeah.
Going back to that point about this being a series of just weird, like roller coaster, like, wow, the Rangers really shined there. Wow, the D-backs are playing their brand of baseball. So, like, just back and forth. So I'm like, on paper, this 84-win D-backs team should not be any degree of a threat to this Rangers team. But I don't know. But when I had to make a decision, when I had to put pen to paper and say, what is this series going? I said 5. And sure enough, I think the Rangers showed why they probably had no concern that this was going to go beyond 4 or 5.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about game 4, by the way. Like that was just, I don't think there's anything to really cover there.
All right. Well, then we'll go to game 3. Let's talk. Let's just, I mean, our last episode was after game 2, so we have yet to cover 3, 4, and 5. We don't need, I mean, there's literally no sense in going in and like breaking down the statistics of each game, but just taking away bits and pieces from each to really kind of put a bow on this to show like how we got here, so on and so forth. Game 3 was the Max Scherzer appearance. Looked okay. Looked pretty good. He gave you 3 innings. He gets hit. I'll be honest with you. I looked around and I couldn't find an answer as to where he got hit from that comebacker. Was it in the back?
I mean, I would assume so because they said back like tightness is why.
Well, I didn't know if that was
done.
just a separate thing altogether, which I would not have surprised me in the least if Scherzer's back just all of a sudden decided to tighten up and give him an issue. But sorry, they're showing the champagne all ready to go.
Sucker for champagne showers for sure.
I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like,
Say that
just
3
once,
times fast.
just once, I would love to. Like, I don't even.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be anything related to me. I just want to be in there to see what that experience is like. One day soon enough, we'll be in there. But yeah, the Max Scherzer appearance gave you what I think most people are probably expecting: a few innings. He was able to minimize the damage. PFAT, on the other hand, not as sharp. He went a little deeper though, 5 1/3. But the Rangers were able to rebound from that, due in great part to John Gray, what he was able to do. He gives you 3 innings, and then you flip it over to the pen that was so brilliant for you. I mean, Spores, Chapman, Leclerc. And speaking of Chapman, tip of the cap, never had that moment, really. I mean, maybe
was that
maybe had you
was
sweating
that the
at
game
times.
where he got out? He got that big double play. I think it was that game.
Yes, with Seager.
Where he
right?
worked his way into a jam. Right? Chapman worked his way into a jam. I think he walked the first guy, and then there was a single. He had like first and second with no outs, I think.
I think so.
He rolled a double play.
Or no, I think there was. Didn't that end the inning? I thought
he got pulled after that. I thought he got 2 outs and then got pulled, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm blending all these games together. But yeah, I mean, like, you started to feel, dude, if you were to tell me that Chapman would have 2 rings in the last 7 years and the Yankees would have none, I would have told you were crazy. I would have told you were crazy. You know how hard that is to see?
Yeah.
Still, job well done. Well done.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting point because, like, throughout this game, I mean, throughout the series, but specifically this game, you know, as the broadcast team starts to sense like, okay, this thing is wrapping up, we're calling this a season, you know, they start to pan to different guys and they start, you know, sharing little tidbits about this or that, kind of building the narrative a little bit.
Yeah.
They're paying into guys like Jacob deGrom and Aroldis Chapman and guys like that. And I'm just like, even Austin Hedges. I saw Austin Hedges' faces a number of times on there. And I'm like, you know, that's the beauty of baseball. And people can talk down about that aspect of the game to where the roster size can only create situations like this where you have a guy like Aroldis Chapman who at times has just been atrocious, having 2 rings to his name and a team like the Yankees since 2009 having none.
It's insane.
It's crazy. But, you know, for a team like the Rangers, for a team, any team in a situation or a scenario where they're about to and eventually win a World Series, you have to have a collection of guys who at one point or another step up and have their moment. And we were talking about it before we hopped on. A guy like Josh Spores, a guy I grew up playing travel ball with, who coincidentally was on the bump for the final out, which was just awesome to see. I think he went 2 1/3 tonight, which was, you know, tip of the cap to him, man. I'm super pumped for that guy. But he was, ask Dodgers fans, man, he was booed out of LA. They go on Twitter. They had nothing nice to say about him.
Right.
And then you got Rangers fans, even at certain points.
You got like guys like Heaney too. I mean, Heaney has had a really up and down career.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's just it's a funny game that way, which zooming out a little bit, talking a little bit big picture here. It's why the ring narrative or the conversation surrounding rings doesn't really move the needle for me, because it's like so much of it can just be happenstance. I mean, look at Jacob deGrom. Do you honestly think if you were to have a conversation with Jacob deGrom right now that he would be truly fulfilled with the way he's getting this ring.
No,
Like,
I would say it's like the Acuna with the Braves.
Right.
Feel.
It's like no doubt that the ring is going to be bright as ever, regardless how much or how little you contribute. If you're getting a ring, it's a ring. I'm not
Yeah, I'm not
down on
that, but I'm sure you'd rather been healthy. Yeah.
But I think it just hits a little bit different. But like I said, I think that's the beauty of all of this is there's just so many different stories, so many different career trajectories that lead all of these guys to this very moment. And once the dust settles, you got a collection of Texas Rangers who are going to be walking away with the ring. And that's a cool thing to see.
Yeah. So we're skipping game 4, right? Because that was lame. Game 5.
Well, the one thing I did want to bring up about game 4, and I think it was honestly made a bigger deal than I thought it would be coming into today's game. Like I still feel like there was some remnants of that discussion, but the move by Bruce Bochy to bring in Jose Leclerc to get the final out. Did you have any strong thoughts on that by chance? Because when I saw it, I'm like, good for Boch, man.
Yeah.
Like shutting the door, not giving these D-backs any momentum. I mean, they were able to tack on 2 against Leclerc, but I don't even remember.
Sure.
I don't even know if those were hit. I don't think those were his. I think those are inherited.
Here's exactly what I said. Because we were passing out candy over at Paige's parents' house, and her dad had the game up on the iPad in the driveway. So we're watching that while we're passing out candy. And I told him, I said, at a certain point, this game will turn into the Diamondbacks just trying to get something going for tomorrow. Like get feeling good in the box, get some momentum heading into tomorrow. If you're lucky to climb back into this thing, like great. But let's just try to have quality ABs that we can carry into tomorrow. That's the mentality there. So to bring it back to your point, the big boss move from Hall of Famer Bruce Bochy saying, no, you're not going to do that. I'm not going to let you get good ABs in. I'm going to end your night now. And like you said, yeah, maybe a couple runs, but still, like he's been nails this postseason, run into a couple hiccups, but overall, like we don't want to give these guys comfortable ABs to just stroll in tomorrow and stay hot. So that's a baller move to me. That's a baller move. Bruce Bochy is the real freaking deal.
Yeah, and like I posted that meme today, which I thought was hilarious. I would give credit. I don't know who made it, but it was just floating around. But it was in response to that decision, and it was a side-by-side headshot of Kevin Cash and Bruce Bochy.
Like
and on the left, you have Kevin Cash. No, I got it. I have to do this justice. I can't. I'm not gonna misquote it here. But I'm like, this is just the perfect encapsulation of what I'm talking about with just at certain times knowing when to go with your gut. It was a picture of Kevin Cash like crying, and he said, we need to make sure we're throwing rested relievers because our closer's ex-woe bacon is 1.3% higher when pitching back-to-back days and has allowed a 0.4 degree higher launch angle to the third batter. And then on a picture on the left, it's just a picture of Bruce Bochy smiling. He says, it's time for Jose Leclerc to pitch, LOL. And I'm like, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just need to go with your gut. And I think the decision to bring him in, and like you said, not give them good looks, good ABs, and just solidifying the win, because we all know at this like the postseason is when a win means that much more. Like, you're not trying to be strategic. You need to lock down a win, even if that means playing out of your plan. And I'm sure Bruce Bochy's plan was not to go to Leclerc up 6, but he said, you know what? The D-backs are starting to string a little something together. Let's put an end to this right now. And the biggest thing for me is, okay, you bring him in, he's going to close it down. Even if he gave up a couple more, they're going to get the win. Yeah. And at that point, you're going to be up 3-1.
Yeah.
So what if he can't go to in game 5? He didn't go in game 5, and look what happened.
Yeah.
And say you drop game 5, 6 and 7.
You play for that night. You don't play for tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. So that was my biggest takeaway from game 4.
I guess, I mean, I think my takeaway with the Diamondbacks, and I think it's just the opposite. We talked about it last episode. I think it is going to start a trend of getting former players into the front office. And Chris Young being the GM and making this hire for Bruce Bochy to be able to, hey, here's a script, here's what we found, but you're a Hall of Famer. So if you need to adjust, you make adjustments on the fly. And only players understand that. When front office nerds get involved, you see what you saw with the Diamondbacks yesterday. You saw Mantiply coming out hot, looking good, but stick to the script. Let's move on to the next guy. And then eventually that implodes. It's just the difference between the two. And I think that we have now, for a multitude of reasons, and we'll probably get into this deeper into the offseason, but I think you're starting to get the feel back to baseball. You're starting to get guts back to baseball. There's a reason why these old managers are coming back and getting jobs still. There's a reason for that. The league isn't full of just Aaron Boones, yes men. It's got older guys coming back and having a combination of both. So I'd love to see a trend. I know we laughed about Gabe Kapler having a GM opening possible with the Red Sox, was it? I know we laughed about that, but think about what that does is getting players into that seat and understanding all aspects to it. So I think the freaking Rangers just nailed it, and I don't know, man. That's a big gut punch. No matter how you made the game somewhat manageable, was it 11-5, how it ended? Whatever.
11-7. They
11-7.
tacked on those two against the Clerk, finished the game 11-7.
I don't think, that doesn't do it for me.
That was not, by the way,
that's a way worse game than that score.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, I don't care what the score is at the end. That was not an 11-7 game.
No.
By no means.
Tonight, I think my takeaways for tonight for game 5. Excellent pitching by two vets. Nathan Eovaldi.
Big game Nate.
That man is a straight baller. That man is a straight baller. I have mad respect for that dude. He's done it in different unis. He's done it in different scenarios. He's taken hard L's. Like, he just is a true pros pro. That was gutsy tonight. Gutsy. Getting out of jams like that was absurd. I don't know how many left on. Let me see how many left on.
He bent, but he didn't break. And that's what he did this whole postseason. And I genuinely believe that everybody in that clubhouse, and probably most Rangers fans watching, had little to no concern about their chances in Game 5 with him on the mound.
Yeah. I don't know if I can find how many were left on. Quite a few, though, I think. Oh, that's the Rangers. Arizona, Diamondbacks left 11. Left 11 on base tonight. That's bad. I think the 1-run deficit was, I wasn't nailing it in yet the way you were. I thought there was still like some good energy from the crowd. I thought that there could maybe be a little something
for sure.
going.
They brought it. I'll give them credit. Even like I think even D-backs fans, even though they were at home, I think they were feeling the heat midway through the game.
Everybody was done here. Everybody was done here for sure.
But I'll give them credit, up. Man. They were there.
Yeah, and the 1-0, I think, that's one swing, right? Like one swing from anybody in that lineup. We've seen it plenty of times. It can happen. Look. Alec Thomas letting that ball squirt through. I understand it didn't end up mattering that much, but the gut punch of letting 2 more in as a player, you have no throw. Why are you coming up do or die like that? Why are you coming in that hot? You don't have a play anywhere. You got nowhere to go there. I don't know who was on first, but they're going first to third. No problem. I just don't understand why he's busting it in that hard on a baseball. That to me, that was absolutely the nail for sure. I think the obvious nail. But it's a gut punch of being down 1. Maybe my guy can work out of this, and maybe we carry that momentum over offensively to down 3, and it's at that point irreversible. It's not a good play.
It took me back to
Trent Grisham,
to the seats I was in watching that game live in person. I see the ball squirt through. I said, this game's over.
Yeah,
because it's not like it's
a
blessing.
mental mistake that.
Well, it's a blessing and a curse, depending upon obviously which side of the ball you're on. But a play like that in the postseason, in particular, it doesn't matter how consequential the play may be in the box score, or even for the mojo in the clubhouse or in the dugout. Something like that can either put the fans right back into the game or take them completely out, depending upon which side of the ball you're on, where you're playing.
Yep.
But that play right there, even if the D-backs would have been capable to answer the following half inning with, a 3 spot or 4 spot, it once you lose the energy in that ballpark, it's done. And I think that's why you can easily say that was the obvious nail.
And you couldn't get you couldn't string anything together. So down 1 already feels like a hurdle. Anything more than that, it's just nothing else going on. My other takeaways, I just think there was an obvious lopsided difference in roster depth. I think the depth of the Rangers roster versus the Diamondbacks, and you bring a name up like Tommy Pham. I'll put my hand up. Mad respect and a heck of a postseason performance. Not tonight, but overall, like a really, really good postseason. But that's your guy. And Tommy Pham has been a role player his entire career. And you're telling me that all of a sudden he's got to be heart of the order, show up every time. Like, that's who you're banking on. And no disrespect to Tommy Pham, because again, I didn't like the guy before. I don't know if I'd like him at all, but I will say he performed. But either way, that's not I think when you go into the season and you're breaking camp, if you were to tell me that, hey, we're gonna lose the last game of the year with Tommy Pham as our DH, like, that's not what you're really hoping for. I don't care who you are. Don't tell me that's plan A. There wasn't a ton of depth. Evan Longoria being pinch hit for Pavin Smith. Pavin Smith?
I mean,
Smith?
Evan Longoria?
I don't like that pinch hit at all, by the way. I hate that pinch hit. I don't care about righty. I don't care.
I understand.
But that's what I'm just saying there's a lack of depth. They had a good performance all around. Certain guys showed up at certain times. They're ahead of schedule, whatever like things you want to say about the Diamondbacks, you can throw those positives at them, and I'm cool with that. But they weren't deep. They weren't deep. And when your season is hanging in the balance by certain names like that, and Christian Walker doesn't, do what Christian Walker does during the regular season, you have other guys that, it's nice and you expect them to step up, but like a Gurriel and a Tommy Pham, they're role players. They're fourth outfielders. No matter how well they perform this postseason, that they can't be your engine. You know what I'm saying? Like they needed a couple more sticks. They needed a little bit more bop in that lineup.
Look, man, they were a scrappy team and they're a romantic team. Like it's easy to fall in love with a team like that. I mean, regardless how you may feel about the postseason format, you got an 84-win Diamondbacks team who's, they're embracing the chaos, as they say. The snake's alive. You got, I mean, I didn't mean to throw a stray there at Longoria, but you got guys like Evan Longoria, Tommy Pham on the Corbin Carroll, guys like that, where like I don't want to say misfits, but like it's not exactly like they're far from a juggernaut, so it's easy to fall in love with a team like that. But when you go up against a seasoned team like the Rangers, with just dudes, with dogs, especially when it comes time for the postseason, when the lights of October turn on.
Hungry vets, dude.
When you got Nathan Eovaldi going in a clinching game, I'm sorry, the romanticism of it runs out. It really does.
I agree.
And I think for baseball, I think this is good. Personally speaking, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that disagree, but I'm glad to see a team like the Rangers who have gone out, they've developed, they've spent the money, they've put themselves in a position to do what they just did tonight, and they go out and do it. I'm glad a team like that can still reign mighty.
Yes.
Once the calendar flips to November, versus a team like the D-backs, where it's like you got the rest of, we talk about this all the time, dude. You got the rest of the league looking around going, I mean, if the D-backs can do it, like we can, let's try and model this thing after what they're doing. We don't need to spend the money. And I'm telling you, if you're listening to this, believe us, you don't want baseball going down that road. The rest of the organizations outside of the team, like the D-backs, the Rays, teams like that, you don't want them following that model.
The wheel. Yeah.
We're already, they talked about it plenty with the starting pitching and just the way, especially in October, the outings get shorter. You long for the days when you had multiple guys in a rotation that could give you 7, no problem.
Yeah.
But we're already starting to see the trajectory of that, where it's like, okay, guys are having to build their stardom as a starter in the postseason in 4 innings or less. It's like, if they can give you a 5, it's like, my God, how did this happen? Right. What a hero. It's like, it didn't used to be that way. And I'm not here to say like, oh, back in my day, but like, let's just take a look around and acknowledge that a guy like Eovaldi, who can give you 6, 7, maybe even 8, if you let him go long enough in the postseason, he can do that.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that a team like the Rangers did what they did.
Well, and you can go further into, like you talked about, development and scouting. And when you're talking about like big pieces of a homegrown Jonah Heim and a homegrown Josh Young, and just like a combination of that with smart free agent moves, with smart trades, Evan Carter, I like just like the understanding that an Evan Carter being fresh out of, and I mean, Spores, same thing, fresh out of the minor leagues, and to be able to step into a big role in the postseason because he need it. They just had like the perfect construction of all these things It's a really, really job well done. And you're right. This is the model. This is what you have to follow. You can't just buy. You can't just grow. You can't just analyze your way through this. You need a combination of all things. And that's what you saw out of this team. And it was a really good team that maybe hit a pretty big skid mark in the second half of the year, but decided to turn it on and got hot. So it's not just a lucky team that got hot at the right time. This is a good team that had adversity, that then got hot at the right time and had the depth to carry it. Texas Rangers, I applaud you head to toe, the entire organization. It's a job well done.
I mean, people forget this was a team that, I don't have an exact date, but what was it, like halfway through the year, we're talking about a runaway pennant winner?
Yeah.
And then, like you said, they hit a lull because you remember, you go back to the first month of the season, we're talking this way about the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the law of averages would have it, they fizzle out. They kind of come back down to earth. But the Rangers just stayed steady and just kept getting better, kept playing good ball, added pieces when they needed to, brought guys in for the right opportunities to get them ready for this time of year. It's just, it's a beautiful thing. To see over the course of a 162, we all know that this is a long year. You even texted me tonight before the game even ended. You're like, dude, I'm done. And I said the same thing. I'm like, I get it, dude. Like, for our sakes, I hope the Rangers. I'm thinking to myself, I hope for our sakes the Rangers end this tonight, because it would be just a nice way to put a bow on it. We don't have to sit through another travel day.
Yeah,
we can just wrap this thing up, because we know this is where this is headed.
Yeah,
like this was going to be a Rangers win. As talking about the series as a whole,
right?
We didn't need to push this to 6-7. It was just nice to see a team, like we said, develop, make additions, and take their lumps over the course of a 162. Mm-hmm. And like I was talking about Eovaldi, the team as a whole, they bent, but they didn't break.
Right.
And here we are.
Super impressive, dude. Super, super impressive.
Speaking about a lull, let's we don't have to end on a negative note, but let's just address the elephant in the room here. You kind of alluded to it a little bit. The ratings surrounding this World Series.
Yeah.
They came out after game 1 and said that it was the lowest the least watched game 1, I think, ever. Is that what they said?
I saw 2 and 3 as well. So
right, and then as the series went on, we come to find out that this is just the least watched World Series of all time.
And it's hard to imagine, because like I think the worst World Series was that 2005 World Series. White Sox, Astros.
White Sox, yeah.
Astros are still in the NL. It was horrendous. It was a horrible.
Yeah, but you also have to think about, and people forget about this when talking about it in today's game. You didn't have the same number of entertainment outlets back in 2005 as you do now. Like people, you really got
stuff going on.
You really got to fight for the viewer's attention.
Yeah.
Or the consumer as a whole, because they may not even be watching something necessarily. They may be out doing something. It's not just the assumption that everybody's watching their TV on a Friday night now. Like they're out doing stuff.
Here's my beautiful argument. Here's my silver lining. I'm gonna save this episode. Are you ready? I'm gonna save us from this negativity.
Let's hear it.
Baseball can't push teams into the playoffs the way the NFL does. You have to play. You have to throw. You got to hit. Don't have any penalties to keep Taylor Swift showing up to games. That's right. I said it. You can't script baseball, baby. That's why we're untouchable. That's why we're untouchable. Everyone says the NFL is the best sport in the world, and everyone says that football saves all. Well, guess what? Not anymore. Not anymore. You've been hacked.
Tarnished.
You've been hacked. Let's be real. You've been hacked by the worst generation. And I don't care. I don't care about your viewers. I don't care about how many viewers you have, and we don't. I don't care. At least our games are legit. And this proves that. Two unlikely teams with pretty small fan bases compared to other places. We're not fixed. There ain't no script here, baby. How's that for a silver lining? Suck it, NBA. Suck it, NFL.
Credit to you. Credit to you. But the fact remains that, how is it, or the question I should say, the question remains, how is this the lead? I get it, but I don't.
I don't get it.
Because I get it.
There's got to be a way that they can't count viewers. There has to be a way of that. I'm logged into 14 different TVs with my YouTube TV account. So I probably just count as one. And I'm going to say that I'm not the only one that's playing that game. So.
Well, you got the other people. What is it? What's that thing? I don't necessarily use them, but I hear about them all the time. Is it the VPNs or something?
Yeah. They got the jailbreak.
Yeah, weird
Fire
stuff
stick.
like that. I don't know what all goes into that, but
yeah. Shout out Mom and Rob. They're rocking.
There you go.
They're rocking the jailbreak. Yeah,
holding it down.
They got the little buffer, little spinning wheel every fourth pitch.
No, but like I was saying, I get it. Based on the two teams that went up against one another in this thing.
Sure.
I get it based on the point I just made about there being entertainment outlets outside of sports even that other people you're losing that attention. You're losing that piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Compared to a World Series like 2005. But on the flip side, I just don't get it, dude.
I think we also got to argue. It's time to open up the rights. How many people just have Netflix and Amazon? How many people don't have cable? How many people don't have access to Fox? So I think that has to change too. I'm not going to sit here and blame baseball for the lack of viewers. I'm not going to sit here and blame the matchup either. I'm going to blame just the way society is now. And it's fine by me. You can throw all these stats at me of how games were quicker and attendance was up and overall we're having new fans watch the game. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. No one listening to this is going anywhere. True baseball fans will watch. True baseball fans will show up. True baseball fans will find a way to see it. So I don't look too much into the viewership. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is you and this may not make sense to most people, but in my head it makes sense, and hopefully you agree. You're not going to grow the game in October.
No.
You grow the game in the 162 leading up to the postseason because you have all 30 teams playing. You have every one of your superstars that are healthy, obviously, contributing to the movement, to the growth, to the viewership, because they're out there doing their thing 6 days out of the week.
Yep.
October is honestly just at the end of the day a roll of the dice. If you're in Major League Baseball's front office, it's really just a roll of the dice and saying, we did what we thought was best for this game and the growth of it March through September. Now you just kind of, at this point, you have to roll the dice and hope that you get a Shohei in there somehow.
Yeah.
That
Right.
you get the Yankees, you get an exciting team like the Phillies in there to draw these bigger markets in.
Yeah.
To create moments like a Bryce Harper bat flip stare down, something like that, to then you can build to then which you can build off of in October.
Yeah.
But if you roll the dice and you come up with Texas and Arizona, you're at the mercy of the way that the games go, because you can't bank on there being any star power. You can't bank on there being any electrifying moments. There could be, and there were at times, but you can't bank on that.
And I know viewership's down, but I'm gonna be honest with you and say, just like being at the office and coworkers that just don't know baseball are talking about it or watching, and yeah, Phoenix, size wise, I think it's a pretty good sized city, but there's no real Diamondbacks fans outside of Arizona. So, you're not getting a huge fan base, but you are getting new fans. I think there were new fans, people that were asking about it and intrigued by it and probably learning new names and seeing guys for the first time, because it's the first time, them watching their team. So I'm not at all shook by the viewership. I think like our negativity was in the beginning. It was the matchup, and it was a nice story of what the Diamondbacks were doing. It just, there were better teams in the postseason that kind of didn't get here. I would have been absolutely fine with Phillies Rangers. That would have been ecstatic. That would have been a heck of a World Series. And probably a somewhat predictable World Series at certain points. Like choosing that matchup anyway, but I don't know.
Right. I mean, look, I put out that graphic today. The Rangers' path to a World Series title. You open up the wild card series against the 99 win Rays. You advance to the ALDS, which we were at. We witnessed. It wasn't pretty for the O's. 101 win O's team in the ALDS. ALCS, a 90 win, but seasoned and at many times successful in the postseason Astros.
Mm-hmm. Historic in the postseason.
And then you match up against the 84 win D-backs. And not to beat a dead horse, but like I get it. That's the beauty of baseball, is you can have a team, at least with the way that the current postseason is structured, you can have a team like the 84 win D-backs make it in. You said it yourself. You have to play the games. You have to throw. You have to hit. And they did that. They did it enough to get to this point in the season. But we going back to not being surprised, like you can't be surprised when the numbers come in, when the reports come in and say literally nobody's watching this World Series. We just can't be surprised. And we can't be naive to like try to fight it either. Like I saw so many people trying to defend the World Series. I'm like, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
This is not, from an entertainment perspective, it's just not an entertaining World Series. It's not an entertaining matchup. Like there's zero bad blood between these two teams. I don't care what narrative Fox Sports tries to build for me.
Right.
You have a couple stars on a few stars on each team, some more than others, obviously, but all in all, like these weren't just like star-studded, like, whoa, man. Like you weren't getting that. You had some guys show out, of course. Corey Seager, Dolis Garcia, guys like that. But like, it's the Rangers and D-backs. Like, and I go back to my initial comment to open things up. Like this was all but gift wrapped for the Rangers, I think, if we're being honest, looking back.
Pretty much.
It seemed like it was a sure thing. And I'm not going to sit here and say like that this somehow means less to the Rangers now.
No. Yeah,
they earned this thing. They rolled this year. I mean, they they.
I don't think it
bumps,
mattered.
but
I don't think it mattered who they were going to face. I really didn't. Like offensively, it's insane what they did. Absolutely insane.
I'll just say this to kind of put a bow on this element of the conversation. While it had its moments this last week, this World Series just did not quite scratch the itch.
I don't feel satisfied finishing the season this way. I'll say that. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I would honestly love to get a Rangers fan's take on this World Series. Like, sure, they're on cloud 9 right now, like just won the World Series. Put that aside, and I would love to know like what their thoughts were, like their perspective on this World Series. Like, were they on the edge of their seat? Were they somewhat disappointed at the prospect of the entertainment value that would come from a matchup against the D-backs? Like, were they maybe hoping for somebody else? I would just love to hear like what's going through their minds. Cause I don't, it's all just so random. I don't know. It's just very random. Sorry. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what's more impressive, you predicting the outcome in games or me predicting the MVP? That's a close one. That's close.
I mean, I know I'm going to sound extremely biased here, but I genuinely think that games is the harder part of it, especially, I don't know. I know people are probably listening to this and going like, which is it, Kyle? Was it a shoe-in for the Rangers or was this going 7? Because you can't really seem to make up your mind. But like I said, I had to choose 5 games before the series started, but after 2 games, it's knotted up at 1 apiece, and you're going, crap, man, both teams seem like they're playing their brand of baseball, and they're doing it well. Like, this very well could go 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Rangers like, no. Like, we're going to put an end to that narrative real quick. We're going to play our brand of baseball, and we're going to disrupt their brand of baseball, and we're going to walk to this in 5. I feel like the games might be a little tougher, but like I said, it's either going to be an easy pick or just the most random Joe Blow. Like, it's going to be a Steve Pierce 2018 scenario.
I agree. You're probably right.
So it's honestly kind of like a flip of the coin. But
I think if Adolis stayed healthy, he probably would have taken it.
I mean, that's baseball though, man. Credit to you for correctly picking it. It just seemed too easy. I'm like, there's no.
Sometimes it is the obvious one.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I can't go Seager, dude. There's no way he continues to just dominate. And what does he go out and do?
What a stud, man. What a freaking stud. I'm so jealous.
What was the stat we found before we hopped on? The first.
I think it was
the first player to win World Series MVP in both the leagues, like ever.
Yes. Second one to win multiple, Reggie Jackson. And Reggie Jackson did it with the A's and the Yankees. Both AL. Seager obviously doing it in both with 2 different teams. Those are only 2 guys. So super impressive. Super impressive. What a stud, man.
Not to rehash this. I know we just put a bow on this, but you mentioned Seager's prior World Series, and it made me think when I was looking at the results or like the data of the viewership was higher
during COVID
in a COVID 2020 season where people were literally like, nothing in life matters anymore, but I guess I'll flip on a baseball game. And that had higher viewership than a completely normal season, a completely revamped with the rules type season, exciting narratives.
Here's maybe one of the factors. Here's a factor. 2 warm states I watch one of the games.
The weather really bothers you, doesn't it?
No. I'm not saying a bad thing. I'm saying it in a good way. Well, a reason for the viewers or lack of viewers. I think it's because 2 warm states. I watched one of the game at an outdoor bar with 300 people watching one screen. That only counts as one. So there's a lot of that. And you're having that both in Texas and Arizona. People going out, watching it together at bars and stuff like that. And so...
Yeah, but like...
I think
couldn't you make the argument that the bars inside in colder cities would have the same effect?
No, because you only have so much space. Outdoor bar, this place was huge. There was an entire turf area, all with just hundreds of people.
Yeah, but like we just got done. I feel like we're running ourselves in circles here because we just got done talking about how there's no D-backs fans. So like, yeah, maybe.
Oh no, the people were watching though. It was for sure happening around here.
Just like baseball fans in general, maybe not
yes, kind of. It's not like they were specifically Diamondbacks fans or they were that hard, like that diehard of fans, but they were watching and there were people here talking about it and there were people here going. There were a bunch of people asking me if I was going to go. So there was a buzz around here for sure. There was definitely a buzz. It just, like I said, it's just more people being out doing their own thing. I think cold weather states, you stay at home because it's all snowy and cold and you're not going to go sit in some sticky, stinky, tight little bar. Out here, it's spacious, man. We got a lot of outdoor bars. That's my argument. I'm dying on that hill.
That's fair. But to that point, there's a lot of cold weather city fans that I don't care how cold it is outside. They are passionate fans, Northeast fans.
Yeah. But like, look at all those fans that were sitting outside of the plaza in Arlington. You know, all those people watching one screen. I don't know how we count those viewers.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Sorry, I guess if I haven't made it clear already, I feel like my disapproval falls solely on the D-backs fans or lack thereof. Like
pretty much. There's no diehards here.
Yeah.
Even today, people are walking around like it would have been nice to win this thing, and I'm like, all right, hang on, like it's not done yet.
Hold on, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
People moving on to the Suns over here because the Cardinals aren't worth a damn. So,
speaking of which, I didn't realize Grayson Allen was on the Suns now.
Yeah.
Shout out Duke.
Yeah. I'm not a fan personally, but
hey, he's come around. He's come.
Sure.
People just have blind hatred towards that guy.
He's a little dirty.
He's grown. We've all grown.
I think I
most
just
of
saw
us
something like last
most
year.
of us.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
he is a Sun though. He did start game 1.
It's not a Grayson Allen podcast by any means. But I mean, it's fitting we talk about the Suns because you can only talk about the D-backs so much because it's the D-backs. No, but like. I don't want to harp on them too much. Like, credit to them. Like I said, they did what they had to do to get here. It was a
future.
It was a great story, bright future.
Yeah.
I would be a hypocrite to sit here and like just talk all this noise on them when I was the one of the two of us. I was probably more excited about the D-backs coming into the season. Probably like a little bit in error. Like, I don't know if I should have been as excited about the D-backs.
I think it was
to start the year.
It's a little blind, but
yeah, a little bit of chase
what
field
is it?
bias.
What is a blind? Oh, that's just mean to say. A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. I don't think we can call the Diamondbacks a blind squirrel.
No,
but
that was a good,
maybe you.
That was a good team.
Call you a blind squirrel?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, although credit to me, and I've got the receipts. 2 years in a row now, I've correctly picked. Why are there balloons going off? What was that?
Did you press that? Your hands they weren't even near the computer.
What was that? Where did those balloons come from? Does it know? It must know we're recording episode 400.
It must know. For those who aren't already, get on YouTube. It's way better.
That was so weird. What was that?
I don't know. It's cool.
Well, okay, let me retrace my steps. What did I say? I said credit to me.
2 years in a row doing something.
Credit to me. I kind of want to get the balloons up again. That was cool. I don't know what I said to trigger that.
I don't know. You said 2 years in a row.
Congratulations, balloons. 2 years in a row. Birthday. Balloons.
Credit.
I don't know.
I didn't press anything.
No, but 2 years in a row now, I've correctly. There it is again.
Whoa.
What am I saying?
Say 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. There it is. What a random trigger. Dude, imagine you're sitting on like a job interview now.
Say 50 years in a row.
50 years in a row.
1 million years in a row. No balloons. It's only for 2.
Imagine you're doing like a job interview on this thing. Like, yeah, I was at my last job for 2 years in a row. Balloons. What? Let me finish my point. Balloons. Last year, I said I was feeling the Phillies in spring training.
That's true.
They go on to the World Series. This year, take a little trip out to Chase Field. Get a little bit of the Phoenix vibes. I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of digging the D-backs. You even said, I've mentioned before, it's just this random D-back club out of nowhere. Well, I must have been onto something. So don't come to me if you're looking for a National League pick to win the World Series.
I'll give you
the National League pick to get there.
Yeah.
Just we'll talk next March.
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't know where these random balloons are coming from.
I want them back. Back-to-back years. Nothing.
Correctly picked 2 years in a row.
Still nothing.
Nothing. That's weird.
Something's going on.
Anyway. Any other thoughts on this whole thing? I mean, you and I were talking. I don't really know like what the next few weeks are going to look like for us. This is now our 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is our 6th postseason doing this. And I still can't remember how we go about the week, the 2 weeks immediately following the World Series. I don't know if we record, if we don't record.
I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. So
we'll probably take a little bit of a breather. But where I was going with that is we'll do like a more kind of like wrapping this whole season up thing.
Yeah. We'll have a big recap. Yeah.
We still have award season and all that coming up, which obviously will be based on the happenings of this year. So we're not completely done with 2023 yet, but I think for at least a little while we're maybe taking a little bit of a breather. We got you to the finish line.
Yeah.
But all in all, any other takeaways from this series?
No, I think
Dude, the game ended an hour and a half ago, and we're just now getting to Torey Lovullo.
I thought I saw that before.
Am I behind?
I thought I saw it before, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Is it a different press conference? Maybe it's just like a replay of the press conference.
Tom Verducci in the tunnel?
No, he was sitting down for a presser, I think. Yeah, he was a little teary-eyed.
This is Verducci in the...
I hate Verducci, dude.
Down underneath.
Genuinely can't stand that guy. Such a weenie.
This is quite the extensive post-game coverage, man. The game ended an hour and a half ago, and the man's still in his uniform.
He's going to sleep in it.
I mean, I would. Well, maybe not if you lose.
I don't know if I'm sleeping, dude. I don't know if I'm sleeping after this. It's a tough L. It's a tough couple L's.
I mean, at least you're home. At least you don't got to fly back.
True.
That would suck.
True.
Also, on that note, can we please just have a team win it at home one of these times? Come on.
So much better. It's so much more fun. Such a vibe when that happens.
When was the last one? Was it? I mean, the last one I remember is the 13 Red Sox, but surely it's happened at least once in the last decade.
Has to have happened.
All right, let's go year by year here.
Oh boy.
14 was the Giants. That was in Kansas City, I thought.
You're right. I'm remembering a double down the line. I don't know why. From who. I want to say like a Brandon Crawford double down the line. The left field line at Kaufman.
15 was the Royals and Mets.
Yeah. 16 was Cubs in Cleveland.
17 was Houston in LA. 18 was Boston in LA. 19 Nationals in Houston. 20 COVID year in Globe Life for the Dodgers. 21 Braves in Houston. Jorge Soler. 2022 Houston and Philly. My God, it was the Red Sox in 13.
No way, dude.
We just went year by year.
I don't know if you're completely accurate on all of it. Although, super impressive to be able to match those teams up.
Yeah, Giants in Kansas City in 14. Royals on the road in New York in 15. Right? The 15 was the only one that was kind of questionable. That was in New York, I think. Yeah. Or no, was it the Royals? No, yeah, it was in New York. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's just get it back at home, please. Like, it's just not that you're going to grow the game based on where the celebration happens, but like, it's just a nice little cherry on top for us diehards that sit here and watch teams that we don't otherwise really care all that much about.
Like to see a lit up fan base with it.
Yeah, come on.
Showing them watching the big screen back home doesn't hit the same way. Although I'm sure it would be sweet to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff. My friend, this is, unless you got anything else, this brings us to the completion of episode number 400.
Tip of the cap to you, pal. I think you gotta, we need a big round of applause to my guy. You put a lot of hard work into this, man. You put a lot of time and effort into this, and 400 of these bad boys, man.
My goodness.
400. So, I love you.
Believe
Props
me.
to you, pal. I don't know how you do it. This thing would have died a long time ago. It was just
Well, I was just about to say, believe me. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You go back, listen to episode 1. I don't think many people would have enjoyed 400 episodes of me talking to myself. So just as much, if not more, credit to you for giving me somebody to talk to, because otherwise this thing truly would have died a long time ago.
Yeah.
Nobody would have wanted to listen to that. But I love that we were able to wrap up the year with 400. The timing was
nice. It does feel good.
Insane. It's fitting. Nice way to go into the off season. Shout out to all you guys listening.
Yeah.
Stuck with us all year. Those of you who joined throughout the year, welcome.
Maybe this is your first episode. Welcome.
Maybe it's your first episode. Welcome to the show. We will be, like I said, we'll be back sometime soon. Don't know when yet, but the off seasons with with your friends Nate and Kyle can be fun. So,
oh, dude, I think it's even more fun. I honestly I prefer the off season to the season.
Yeah, the off season we get a little crazy.
Yeah, we get weird.
It gets weird. I'm looking forward to it. We got some stuff cooking up. You know, I've been thinking a lot about it. I feel like we had kind of shied away, not for any particular reason, from the interview game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we got a couple guys that
I think
we can line up real easily.
No, Longo likes quite a bit of our posts. I've seen his name quite a few times. Maybe we give him a little time to recover, but
been in touch over the last year or two with Bryson Stott.
Yep.
Philly's second baseman, and my guy Josh Spores closing down the series here. Maybe we get him on. That'd be a heck of an experience to relive. Yeah, we I mean, even that's just the first few guys that come to mind, but we'll get some more. We might tap into the interview game a little bit, get some names on here, but again, shout out to you guys. It's been a fun year, another one in the books. And buckle up for take a little break, take a little breather. We made it, but buckle up for a fun off season to come. We've got some stuff lined up. It'll be a good time.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And here's to 400 more. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.